My name is David Horn. I am a member of the Oil Trading Group, or OTG, uh, and I just wanted to give kind of my personal testimony of my experiences with OTG. I started trading back in 2006, and I've been in a lot of trade rooms following that, probably for about 6 or 7, 8 years. Kind of bouncing around looking for something that would work for me. Never really found that. So I basically kind of developed a mismatch of all of those things, or some of them, into what is now my system. During that process, probably 8 years ago, is one of the vendors gave a free trial to the oil trading group. I wasn't trading oil at the time. I was a 6A, 6E, and a NASDAQ, did a little bit of the ES, never messed with oil because it just moved too fast. But I was fascinated of the moves that it made. They were pretty volatile sometimes. And, it looked like you could get dinked out pretty quick. So kind of stayed away from oil. And then, when I got that free trial from the other vendor to visit somebody else's trade room, which is a little bit crazy, but I used to sit in there and I'd watch, and from about day one, I was pretty impressed of Jason. His entries, his exit, his risk reward was just simply amazing. But I went in there and I just watched for a couple of weeks. My trial ran out, would get an email down the road a little bit, so I would go back in. And over the course of the years, I've probably been in 25, 30 of the free trial rooms, simply because, I thought it was fascinating. And even though I wasn't trading it, to watch somebody with that much fortitude, I guess, to hang on to, these big targets, and his entries are pretty spot on. So I just thought that was fascinating. A couple of years ago, I started thinking about trading oil. So I moved into that, along with the NASDAQ, and now strictly it's just the CL for me. But about a year ago, after so many free trials, I decided to go ahead. If I'm going to trade oil, who are the best people to do that from? And that's, in my opinion, was Oil Trading Group, because Jason, like I say, it honestly looked like he knew what he was doing. Everything was transparent. Everything was up front. There was no hidden screen, hidden room. Some accidental voice you hear on through the trade, that there was somebody else with them, or anything like that I've experienced with other trade rooms throughout the years. And I hadn't been in a trade room where I went in to get an indicator or anything in a long time. I just like being in a room where others are talking. I'm not sitting in front of the computer by myself. So with that being said, I joined the room, and I'm a scalper by personality, and anywhere from 30 to 130 trades in a session, and that's the way I used to be. Jason has these levels called market maker levels, and they're pretty phenomenal. There's ETH session, there's RTH session, and there's extensions on those. But these levels, he's support resistance trader, and these levels are pretty spot on as far as entries, targets. He goes through, during the day, if things are doing this or doing that, just like, in a normal room. But he puts a trade plan out the night before, which is typically, 12 hours, 13 hours before the market opens. And it's just amazing to see his spot on ability on these. Now, does he win all the time? No. Do we? Any of us win all the time? That's a fantasy. That is just not. It's a fantasy. It'll never happen. There's winning trades. There's losing trades. And he'll tell you it's how you manage those. Well, up until about a week ago, today is the 16th of February, 2019. And about a week ago Friday, I've been taking baby steps of letting them kind of run just a little bit further than I would. And it's taken more of a step than, maybe in the next week I let it go a little bit more. But about a week ago Friday is I kind of got it in my head that that's what I'm going to do, in this session. And it was pretty incredible. And even though, me and Jason, and no two traders are alike, but he has a method. I have a method that works for me. I have time frames that work for me. He has time frames that work for him. So it's just different. Nobody's exactly the same. But the use of these market maker levels, is like I said, is pretty incredible. Now we're on a lot of the same trades together. Some trades we're not, some trades we are. I win some, I lose some. That's just the nature of the game. But, even if I'm, or anybody else is in a trade and, he will give his perspective, and this is where this is going to happen. This is where that's going to happen. You need to let the market breathe. Everybody knows the market has ebbs and flows, and he'll tell you that. But even when he's not in the trade, if he knows you're in a trade, he will help you and encourage you along the way of where that target is. And with him, it's always 2.5 to 1. So with that being said, Friday, I just let it do its thing. And it was incredible. I back tested and ran, simulator all that weekend. Well, come Monday, it was the real deal. My lowest profit out of in a day last week was $850, $840, then minus commissions, all that. But pretty much the gross was $840, and it's because I let them run. I let them run to where they were supposed to go. Do they go there all the time? No, obviously. But Tuesday was another great day. Wednesday was another great day. Thursday was phenomenal. I left there with $1,600 on Thursday. Friday was $1,240 or $1,260, I believe. But the point being is, I let them run my trades. I let my trades run to pretty much my target. And it was a pretty eye-opening experience, not only the Friday before that and the weekend, but actual market trades. It was stress-free. In fact, it's the most stressless, if that's even a word, trading that I've done in 12 or 13 years. Because I'll get in a trade, and as a scalper, you're looking to just get a couple of ticks, get a couple of points, and pop out and then move on to the next setup. So with that being said, is when I reach this point, it's like I just enter my trade. Whatever happens, happens. And Jason will tell you there's two things that'll happen. You're either going to win or you're going to lose. And it's how you manage the risk in that trade, is going to be the outcome of your entire day. And it's so true. And I saw it. I used to see where, he'd be up $800, $900, and then he would let it come back. And, the last swing point, it would knock him out. He'd walk away with that on that trade like $200. And I'm thinking, I told my wife, I said, this guy's crazy. I said, take the money and run. But that was my kind of my mentality, is I'm in that profit. I don't want to give any of it back. So I started doing that, and more times than not, those big long targets are hit, and you manage it along the way. But as I said, there's ebbs and flows, and you have to be able to let it breathe. He reads the market really, really well. And so anyway, that's what I was doing. I had a trade on, I think it was Tuesday. I'd lost like the first two. I think it went against me. And then the next one, I jumped back on, and they're small. Jason has like a 10 tick stop. Mine, like I say, is typically 10 to 15. And so I got dinged on 2 trades. I wasn't worried about it because I run the statistics, yes, that word, on my system. And he has, he has a calculator and stuff when you become a member that you can punch in, and test this whole theory out. But anyway, I knew that the next trade or the next one would, I would catch that if I'm reading it right. And if not, then, you just got to stop. But the risk is small. So that third trade is I got in, it ran up, I don't know, somewhere around $1,000. I moved my stop up to that last swing point on my chart, and it came back and basically took $400 of that profit. But I was still in profit because I moved my stop up, and it wasn't one of those, man, I could have had that. It was just, all right, let's move on to the next one. So the next trade after that is I got back in and I made that plus a little bit more up. So kind of the long and the shorts of it is I'm a little bit hard-headed. It took me a little bit longer to realize that if you have a good plan, and Jason has a good plan, if you're coming into the room or you want a free trial or whatever, and I'm not pushing the room at all. I'm just kind of giving my experience in it. That if you don't have any trading experience at all, just come in and watch it, listen to him, kind of get the vibe and the feel of what's happening in the room, kind of his technique, what he's looking at, the way he draws in the morning out, about what the market's going to do. And then if it fits in the trade, if you're trading simulator or whatever, then test it out. It took me a really long time of watching a professional trader such as Jason do his thing in order for it to click in my brain that, hey, it works, So I've been successful up until now, and I just look for more success in this process. So kudos to the oil trading group, the guys that are in the room, great bunch of guys. And if you come in there or you're already in there, I'm Beatnik in the room, and I'm out of here. Peace.